everybody. So, we were good to go. We were in the middle of the dungeon, and the DM spent no less than, I kid you not, about 3 minutes describing a door, and then asked what we were going to do next. But like, he had spent so much time on the door that we figured something was going to happen. So we didn't really have an idea of what to do. Like, we didn't want to slip for a trap, but it was actually just a door. And we sat there for like 20 minutes, and he just gave up and went home. So session's canceled.
He just gave up and went home. Just said, fuck you guys. I'm out.
Fuck this shit, I'm out.
I'm gonna get the fuck up out of here.
I'm gonna just get my stuff and leave. Excuse me, please. Welcome back to the Sessions Canceled podcast. It's me this time, Isaiah. I'm here with Josh.
Am I here? Is anyone
truly here? No. The answer's no. No, we're not. I wish. And today, I kind of wanted it to riff on something that we brought up a while ago, and it has something to do with my last topic, or not, one of my last topics being the spotlight situation. And it was all sort of spawned from this thing that I just am doing now, which is, you know, casually scrolling on Reddit and being like, oh, that'd be a cool topic. It happens more often than I'd like at this point.
Whatever works.
So yeah, we're just gonna talk about that post I saw, some of the comments on it, and kind of our personal thoughts on the matter. But before that, follow us on your podcast platform of choice, and if you could, give us a bit of a donation on the coffee. Link in the description. We really got to change Brat's bed in the editor dungeon. It's getting a little stanky.
It's getting a little stained.
A little musty, yeah. He also
might say stained with what? I will never tell.
He keeps saying I'm discheesed, and at this point, I think he's losing his mind. So we might want to make that quick.
I don't actually know what it means. He keeps saying it. I don't know what it means.
Yeah, like he says a lot of things. Something about being in the hills. I'm just confused more often than not.
What? You're getting too obscure for me now too.
There's no way I am, because I made the joke literally yesterday.
I don't remember, so I'll have to just take your word
for it. All right, Brett, you're gonna have to do it. You're gonna have to do the line. I believe in you. Don't fuck me on this.
I've been in the hills.
Don't fuck me on this.
Jesus. All right.
Fucking dudes.
But yeah.
Jesus.
Like I said, I was perusing the Reddits, if you will, which at this point, hilariously, is the least toxic social media that I use. Hilariously.
Sorta, kinda.
For me personally, it's the least toxic one I have. It is actually a bit of a breath of fresh air for me.
Fair enough.
Because other than that, it's Twitter, Facebook, and Blue Sky, and they're all toxic in their own unique, terrible little ways. Mainly, it's just my older family saying the most outrageous things I've ever seen in my life, and then going, people can read what you say. You don't have to vocalize every internal thought you've ever had. You know that, right? You have that right.
We're really in an age where I used to think diaries were really dumb, and now I'm like, I think I get why they existed.
No, dude, 100%. The amount of times where I'm like, why would you vocalize that?
Yeah.
You can have that thought, but the fact that you put it onto a public forum makes you look like a psychopath. And now you're going to defend to that point to save face, which makes you look even worse.
Yeah.
Craziness.
Yeah, so, diaries, maybe. Maybe we should go back to those, actually.
Yeah, dude, there's a privacy advocate I've been retweeting a bunch on Twitter. And literally yesterday, I just finished retweeting something they posted, and I saw a post they made and just blatantly, wildly Islamophobic. And I was like, oh, Jesus. Oh, God damn it.
Damn it, dude.
Dude, that was tough.
I hate that shit.
That was so tough.
I hate when that happens. You're like, oh, no. My world, my universe is destroyed.
Yeah, it's like, look, I don't co-sign that. I do co-sign the privacy shit, but this is not co-sign.
I don't co-sign.
Nah.
I don't co-sign. It's all the Muslims' fault or whatever.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. I don't know.
Christ.
Controversial sessions canceled opinion. Fuck bigotry.
Yes, truly.
But yeah. And you might be like, what got you so interested, Isaiah? What does the Reddits have to offer you? I'll tell you. I'm gonna read you the post.
God, they gave us God.
God damn it! I just think of every time Sam just goes, God.
God. It's a good one.
It's so good. Oh Jesus! All right. So the post says, title. So you open the door, getting players to move forward. Bo says, I wonder how other GMs prod their players to decide on an action as opposed to just talking in circles. This is something I think of occasionally when players are given options, discuss them, and muddle around before taking a decisive action. I tend to need confirmation in an action I was deciding upon, because otherwise we might end up discussing who should be opening the door for 30 minutes without actually progressing the plot. How do you all do it? And
hold on. Is this person... I feel like I read it and then you just said it and then I'm still slightly... Is this person the GM they're saying in this scenario?
I think this person is coming from the topic of being both.
This is...
It says, how do other GMs, which assumes they are a GM, and they're looking for advice. But they also, in the third section, talk about being a player.
Right. I tend to need a confirmation that an action I was decided on, because otherwise we might end up discussing who should be opening the door for 30 minutes without the plot. Okay, that third chunk is... I'm confused what they're trying to get at with that third chunk, but the first bit I get.
I think they're saying, like, when they are a player, they need confirmation on an action that they were deliberating on from the GM.
From the GM?
Yeah,
okay,
that seems to be the most logical take on that.
Okay.
And I thought this was interesting, mainly because this has to do with two topics I spoke of, one forever ago and one about 3 or 4 weeks ago. One being the idea of like proactive players and agency, and the other one being more labeled at general spotlight and framing. And the reason why I thought this was so neat is because we answered these questions from two unique perspectives in both episodes, right? We talked about it from our personal experience as GMs and our personal experience as players, and sort of riffed off each other as to how we would have answered the questions at hand. But
did we?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Fair enough. Well, we very specifically in like the spotlight episodes, you know, it was like, oh, I would probably do this, I would probably do that, right? Like,
the spotlighting. Yeah, okay, I remember the spotlighting bit. I remember.
The agency one, it was like we talked about proactive versus reactive players, and when you don't have proactive players, and you can't expect characters to be proactive all the time, you have to just give them a piece, a crumb, if you will.
A crumb. Yes. Yeah.
And the thing, like I said, the thing that interested me was that this provided a completely new, not completely new, but a separate perspective on the topic that we've talked about, we've kind of joked about, but I think is really cool. And a lot of the heavy lifting here did admittedly have to come from the top comment on the post, which, as a side, gave one of the coldest lines I've ever seen for GM advice, which is, the door is not the adventure. Ooh, gave me chills, brother.
Have you not heard people say that
No,
before?
I've never heard that before. I thought that was a unique thing. I love that.
No, I've definitely heard people say that before.
Damn, I thought that was an off the dome take. Sad.
Well, actually, I don't know if I've heard it exactly verbatim like that before, but I've definitely heard versions of that. But yeah, I mean, it's true.
No, it 100% is true. It just like, it's such a simple piece of advice that I wish I could have given to myself when I first started, because this is a huge problem I had in Hellscapes, and it took active breaking of bad habits to not have this problem in Lancer. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So
I mean, I think this particular problem is basically the biggest problem that any new GM will face, like the number one issue to fix. Like the most important, most helpful thing to fix.
I'm inclined to agree with you. Yeah.
I rail against this in different form. I mean, it depends on how it gets brought up, changes a lot. But I have railed against this so many fucking times of like the players deliberating for 35 minutes about the door and you as the GM not just saying, okay, so you open the door, right? Like, yeah, I think it is genuinely like might be number one biggest issue for new GMs.
And like, to those of you who might be new and don't really know what we're talking about, you find
Didn't they literally do this on Critical Role?
Yes. I mean, this is a meme through Critical Role.
Yeah.
Well, it's different. The similar but different. The problem that we are describing, to those of you who might not know, is the door situation, where a GM, where the players will come up to a door in a dungeon or a locked door or just some sort of door in general, and the GM will like maybe describe the door in one too many sentences. They might go into specific detail about the like color of the wood or the like iron framing of the door. And the players will go, well, this must be a thing. Is it locked? Is it trapped? Is it magic? Is it this? Is it that? Or because they spent this time describing the door, the players almost expect that something will happen if they wait long enough, right? As if the door is like this unique, integral plot point to the overall story. And in truth, the GM is just got a little excited in describing a cool image they had in their head, and now it's a whole thing, and it's been 20 minutes of nothing. It's a huge problem, and it happens to everybody. It happened to me. I guarantee you it probably happened to Josh. It almost certainly happened to Matt, Sam, everybody. If you've been a GM, this has happened to you. And it really drives you crazy, because this is when the GM will just break the wall. It's like, guys, there's nothing going on. Like, or they will go, does anyone open the door? That's my problem. That was what I always had the issue with, was I would describe the door and I would expect, right, because this is the kind of player that I am, that I will describe the door and I will almost expect someone to take charge in that moment and sort of put the spotlight on themselves and like confidently stride up and go, I open the door and step through into, fucking situations unknown.
Yeah.
But that's not how players are. It's not how most players are. It's not how you should expect players to be. So it just kind of leaves you feeling frustrated, because it's almost like people aren't engaging with the story, when in reality, you like set your own minefield and accidentally stepped on it, right? You sort of put yourself in a weird writing corner.
I mean, it's not I don't even think it's a corner. It's just people. The thing is like, see, what you're describing is the idea that the players are doing it because you described the door a little too much. You gave it a little too much importance, and so it turned into like a weird fiasco. I've seen this happen without the door getting described at all. Like, it's just this weird tendency of players, not all players, but a lot of players, to just kind of latch on to something in a weird way and or deliberate on something that just doesn't need deliberating. Like there's just this tendency. And even someone who feels like they don't do it a lot, like yourself, you do it sometimes, because the last time we were playing Fabula, you guys did exactly that.
What did we do it on?
The deliberating about, should we go straight to the town or should we go back to the city? Like, what should we do? And the whole time I was sitting there, I was like, I know I want them to go back to the city, but I'm not necessarily gonna ho-hum about it. I'm gonna let them kind of hash it out and just go from there. But like, I I didn't want you guys to go straight to Caro Room, straight to the others town.
Oh, see, I thought I had a pretty good logic about that, because the ultimate logic that my character settled on was, if we leave, we could come back to another ghost town, because it's just the next town.
Yes. Which I will admit I didn't necessarily consider, and there is a reason that that's not the case, but I did the thing where I in that particular scenario, I did the thing where the information was in my head, and I kind of didn't consider that the information wasn't in your head, and ergo, I was like, oh, that is kind of a reasonable conclusion to come to that I didn't think about. So I kind of was letting it rock just to see where it would go, but you did spend a lot of time like bouncing it around, you know?
Yeah. Well, so yeah, like I said, I think I wanted to set my thoughts to the party, right? Because no matter what, I sent the messenger bird out, right? So we were gonna get an answer no matter what. And I figured the letter was going to give us a hint as to what we needed to do, right? I was like, if Josh wants us to go back, he will tell us he wants us to go back.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then Syra was like, get your asses back here. And I was like, all right, that's what we got to do then.
Yeah, it was partially my fault, like you guys overly deliberating, because there was an element of information that I was like, in hindsight, I was like, of course, they don't have that element, so I was probably making a little too many assumptions, but...
Well,
yeah.
So I think in that instance, it didn't feel... Because, like, I've been in situations where the deliberation feels kind of pointless, right? But that actually felt like good problem solving and, like, narrative drama of, like, well, we can go back and resupply, but if we're not here to defend this town, then everybody dies, right? So, like, it ended up feeling like it made a lot of sense narratively speaking, so it didn't necessarily feel as like completely fucking pointless, at least to me.
Well, yes, and I don't know, maybe we're gonna bring this point up later, probably, but yes, kind of the reason I let it rock too was because sometimes it's okay to let it rock.
Yeah, look, sometimes it's good to let your players waffle, 100%.
Yeah, sometimes there's a reason to.
Yeah, but what we are describing right now is not necessarily that. It's players waffling because they kind of got inside their own heads, or you got inside your own head. Is it.
The door situation is implying that the waffling about is pointless. We're assuming it's pointless kind of from the jump. So yeah, it's a slightly different thing. Mm-hmm. Yes, because the joke about inevitably when people bring up the door situation, they bring it up in a context of this dumb, pointless thing my players did, right? That's almost always how it's framed.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, in this case, we're assuming bad.
I remember that I wrote this in my notes. In the case of the door situation, I'm usually the first person to just say, I opened the door, and in parentheses I wrote, what can I say? Maybe my media literacy is just that high. And then in other parentheses I wrote, keck.
Shut the fuck up. Don't even, dog.
Come on, dog. That's funny as fuck, and you know it.
I can't. I really can't. Just...
Dude, I'll never get over that fucking commenter. I can't. It's such a wild take.
It's really something.
If only the public could see the absolute flaming that Brett gave this person.
I know. I don't know why I didn't post it, but
oh, dude, it was so funny. I wish he had. God damn it. Oh, that's just gonna be one of those secrets.
Yep.
Oh, I'm so proud of you, Brett.
Anyway.
Ultimately, what the door situation is it's an issue of framing. And framing and focus, you might be like, is that the same thing? No, it's not. There is a distinct difference. And when we talk about it in terms of framing, the framing of the situation is sort of the generalized term used to depict the scenario, the themes, the ideas therein that make up a situation. The focus, the spotlight, is just that. It is the focus on which the framing is made. So we have to go a little bit more broad here. And you might be like, well, why does this matter? And
Wouldn't you say the focus is made from the framing?
that's what I mean. Sorry. Okay. You need the framing to create a focus.
To create the focus, yeah.
And yeah, it comes in. It is specifically with the thing that the top commenter said, which I agree with a lot. And I want to read it out. They wrote, "I think the problem is actually one of poor framing. After many years of stopping the players at the door because I didn't want a railroad, I realized that what I was doing was tricking my players into thinking that the door was the scene. Now, in some cases, it is. But in the example that most people are talking about, it's not. And it's basically, no RPG doesn't make sense to frame the scene if there isn't one. So what do we do instead? We narrate them arriving to the door and say, are there any final actions you do before you go through? And this conveys to the player that the door is not the adventure, it is merely a checkpoint for the players above table. Incidentally, it also tells you the players that, if you don't do that, then the door is the adventure." So, yeah, I mean, I think this person put it perfectly.
That was a delayed response. I had to think about it for a second, but yes.
No, yeah, it's perfect. I think it is a perfect encapsulation of exactly what the problem is.
Yeah, it's not... The way you just fuck any fancy language here. The way you describe the situation should not be, you walk down the hallway, there is a door here, and then you describe what the door looks like, and then you say to the players, what do you do? That's not what you want to do, because that's going to get 35 minutes of door deliberation. No, the way you describe the scene is you get to the end of the hallway, you see the door, you describe the door, you know that X, Y, or Z thing is beyond the door, or you know that there's something important beyond the door, or you phrase it in such a way that you imply, go through the door, and then you say anything you want to do before you open it, right? Don't stop the description at the door, because when you're describing it and then you stop at the door, like he said, that the door sounds like it's the adventure, or like it's important for some reason.
Exactly, yeah.
When it often isn't.
The simple solution here is, to you GMs, as much as you want to describe how cool the door is, because it's probably a pretty cool door, you really have to fight that habit. If the door is a door, you can describe it as a door, you can describe it as interesting looking, but you cannot leave that cliffhanger to the players and expect them to come to a decision, because you've front-loaded so much information about an irrelevant thing that's where their focus is. It stops being the lich behind the door. Now they think there's fucking 8 cubic tons of dynamite behind the door, and it might be trapped.
I mean, you can describe the cool door. I'm just the point I'm making is just do not end the sentence on the door, because then you're implying that there's something up with the door. Like, right, you can describe it as detailed as you want. Just don't give them the option to interact with it. Like, cut them off.
That's what I'm saying. Is don't leave it at the cliffhanger. Tell them, okay, here's the door. Are you going through it? Because if someone goes, yeah, probably, then you go, okay, we can move on. Or you just say, and then you go through it. You don't really give them the option to like get checkpointed, because they will. You just go, all right, the door is mystically opening and you walk through it like a stage change in Persona, you know?
Or just look. I'm gonna say something that's perhaps a little controversial here. Just take control of your players' characters for a second.
No, look, I
just say Goromaru opens the door. Like, just sometimes it's just easier.
No, look, I'm actually not gonna dog you on this one. I agree. I firmly believe that the players will always have control of their conscious reactions, right? But they do not have control over, in the same way that you as a person do not have control over your unconscious actions, right? A perfect example, if you get jump scared, that's not your conscious reaction.
I'm actually taking it a step further. I am saying occasionally control the conscious action. Very briefly.
I know. I was going to extrapolate into that, but like,
Oh, okay.
It's not out of this world to believe that if something jumps out at a character who very explicitly is not a hardened monster hunter, that they're gonna jump. So if you describe, yes, the skeleton falls from the ceiling and your character kind of like, oh, yeah, that you're not making decisions for the players. You are explaining to them and describing to them the tension of a situation through their reactions, not their conscious actions. Does that make sense?
Yes.
In the same way that you would just if a player got whacked in the face with if a player character or a PC got whacked in the face with a dandelion, it's not out of pocket to describe that they sneeze. It's a very similar thing.
And in that scenario, I think most people agree. I am saying you could go a little bit further though, and actually just say what they physically do sometimes for the sake of keeping things moving and interesting, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and like, look, if someone...
And that's the part some people might not.
No, I mean, yes, like I said, I was going to extrapolate into that. In a situation where you do that, right? If you just go, all right, my character Goromaru just opens the door.
Yeah.
Most people aren't going to complain about that. Most players aren't going to. Because if there's
no... because it's innocuous.
It's innocuous, yes. If there is no negative reaction, but like, it's like, okay, Goro opens the door, and then you get blown up with 8 cubic tons of TNT. And you're like, well, what the fuck? No, I'm not going to open the door then, right? But if it's just, you open the door, there's a tavern, there's no ill effect. There's no downside to this other than pushing the story along.
Yeah.
And in that case, it's fine. Let it rock.
Yeah, the reason people don't want you taking control of their player, their characters for something really consequential, because part of the whole point of tabletop as a hobby is being able to make those freeform decisions, right? Like one of the biggest appeals is, unlike something like a video game, you have that ultimate decision-making power. So yeah, don't do it if it's something consequential. But if it's just for the sake of keeping things moving so they can get to the more interesting thing, which is probably the fight on the other side of the door, then yeah, sometimes just fucking do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because not letting them deliberate, here at the end of the day, letting them deliberate over the door for 35 minutes is just not fun. It's just not a fun time. Nobody wants to do it. They do it because they think there's something going on there, but they don't necessarily want to do it as players. You know what I mean? It's not like that's exciting.
Yes, they don't necessarily believe that they have a choice because something bad will happen if they don't.
Yeah, or they think the door is the adventure, and then that the deliberating is going to be rewarded in some kind of fun way, even though you as the GM are not planning that because you weren't expecting them to deliberate over the door.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, sometimes once in a while, just take a little control, just a little bit, little tiny bit,
just a bit, a smidge, a crumb,
and only for I only for very brief moments. Like, I don't say what your character's doing for the next 5 minutes. I say what you did for like 15 seconds. You know what I mean? Like, it's very quick.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be.
Because don't get me wrong, it's a delicate line. You can get into dangerous territory if you abuse that power, for sure.
Have I think I've told this story on podcast, the like roll to piss yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't make a player roll to piss themselves.
See, but that's not even like that one is particularly egregious because you're taking the control away from the player, but not only are you not moving the story forward, you're actively causing more meandering than was already happening.
Yeah, I mean, the second you make dice, you tell someone make dice at the table, you're like, oh Jesus, okay.
You're making the meandering actually worse. So it's like, why?
Oh, why though?
Yeah,
that's never a good time.
Because let me tell you, meandering is, I think, the enemy of all campaigns ever. Like, I feel like a lot of campaigns die out because players are just not invested, not because they don't care, but because things have gotten so meandering that they simply do not know how to get out of this like weird like circular logic situation. Like they're like trapped in the meandering and they don't know how to escape it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and hey, that's a completely valid other issue. Like we talked about this last episode where
it kind of extends from the door thing,
does,
right?
yeah,
like
yeah.
on a
When the
grander
players
scale.
don't have the information they need to move forward, they will try to talk it out in character and solve the problem that way. But and this is a thing with my party. If the players feel like they don't have the right information, I notice that the conversations will get very circular. And right, you don't want to have to do this, but we like we said last time, sometimes it's best to just do it. Just go, okay, guys, we got to move on because this isn't getting anywhere. And I think that's a valid tactic. I think above board conversation is
very useful.
It's so useful. It's one of the most underutilized tools in an arsenal. There's like this belief that you can't ask the GM a question personally. Like,
yeah,
your character doesn't have to look up at the sky and go, "Hey God, can you help me out?" Just be like, "Hey Josh,
I mean,
what are we doing right now?"
That goes back to my the episode of like how much meta knowledge do you give the players, right? That's kind of what that is, right? A lot of GMs have this inclination that everything has to be in character knowledge, everything has to be figured out in character, and so ergo they don't want to have that above board conversation because that's seen as bad or like you're failing.
Yeah, it's
when honestly a lot of the time what's really happening is just that you as the GM didn't deliver them information they needed, and so they got confuzzled, and you're just kind of like reworking that confuzzlement, you know, like
yeah. This is where I have to push my glasses up like a nerd and talk about how much of a true gamer I am. I have never once been afraid to be like, and you can ask Josh about this, or I'll go, Dungeon Master, I have a question.
Yeah.
Which is,
I mean, no, you do it a lot.
It's never followed by anything a Dungeon Master wants to hear.
No, it's often, my response to Isaiah saying is often, oh boy, here we go.
Yeah, it's fine. It's every Dungeon Master. Every Dungeon Master I've ever had where I go, I have a question.
Yeah.
He's usually...
Conversely, a certain girlfriend of mine often asks that question, and my response in my head is, this is going to be an odd question. Or no, actually, no, I have one of two thoughts. I'm like, either this is going to be a somewhat odd question or it's going to be a clarification question.
So for her, it's like, okay, what I expect from a player. With me, he's going to say something completely insane, isn't he?
He's going to say some out-of-pocket shit that I don't want to respond or deal with.
Hey, Dungeon Master, could I reasonably undiscover nuclear fission?
Yeah, like how, like if I just, like, no.
It's like, seriously, if I hit this piece of graphite with lightning, could I simulate nuclear fission and cause a fission reaction and wipe out the Lich and the town of zombies?
I mean, honestly, the thing that you have to contend with is a strong word, but the thing you have to like acknowledge as a GM, right, is like, this is not your job. You're not okay, for most people, it's not their job to be a GM. I do know that professional GMs exist. It's not your job. It's not your entire life. You have other things to do. Sometimes you may have just forgotten to tell them something you were supposed to, or when you were writing up your notes, you just didn't think of an angle that the players thought of, right? Like, just that's why you have the above board conversation in the moment, because that's effective. Because really, the thing about GMing is you don't get QA testing, right? Whereas if somebody's making a video game, for example, you get you should have QA testing, and usually through QA testing, you learn that, oh, the players of the video game thought that they had to I'm just gonna use The Witcher here because I've been deep in the Witcher sauce lately. The players thought that they had to fight this enemy with a silver sword because he's described as like a weird monstrous man. But in actuality, we didn't intend for that. We just described it poorly, and QA testing showed us that people are getting confused, so we're going to rework that, right? You as the GM do not get that QA testing phase to do the reworking. So sometimes you'll just not have thought of a thing that the players were going to think of, or you thought it was clear and it wasn't clear. Actually, a great example when we were playing Fabula, I had the trial to get Noram. I had the 2 crystals on either side, and I said they were color coded. You guys latched onto the color coding and thought that was important for some reason when it totally was not.
I think that was a fair confusion on our part, because the color coding, you immediately think elemental.
Right. I'm not even going to say it wasn't a fair confusion. I'm just saying when I was writing up the idea, I did not consider the color coding to be relevant other than for an aesthetic thing. So when you guys asked that, or when you guys started saying that, I was like, fuck. Right? And sometimes that's what happens. Now, granted, in that scenario, I let it play out and it was fine. But yeah, I was kind of like, okay, I might have to correct them at some point if it keeps going poorly.
Fair.
No, it was a valid confusion. And to be honest, I don't know why that didn't occur to me. It was a weird one for me to not think of, but I did it. So
honestly, I think that's hearing that now, I think it's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know why. It just didn't. I missed it. I don't know.
Oh, look, it happens. I've done that before.
It was a weird moment.
God, I actually had my own color coding puzzle, and basically the players had to. There were like colored laser beams, right? And think of like a circle, and the top hemisphere of the circle was a rainbow patterned like obsidian wall, and then the bottom hemisphere at every clock hand number was a pillar that shot a colored laser.
Okay.
And 3 of them were colored lasers, and then 3 of them they shot like curtains of light, like think like Tron light cycle curtains.
Okay.
And what the puzzle was, where they would have to point the curtain at the puzzle, and that the like kaleidoscope color it would turn into a spectrograph where you would see like the different colors. Think like the
Pink Floyd thing.
Yeah, exactly that. And then they would have to point the laser to the color that was separated out. And they were like,
God, you're losing me as you're describing it right now.
If I showed you a diagram, it would make more sense. And they tried they were like, can we hack the puzzle to solve it? I was like, no, you can't fucking hack the puzzle. In my head, I thought it was like the simplest thing. I was like, okay, they're gonna point the curtains at things. They're gonna see that it was one curtain, and it was like the 6 o'clock hand was the one that like separated the colors up. They were gonna point that thing and see the colors like separate out, and then they were gonna point the colored lasers at it. But they were like, what if it's complementary colors? What if it's supplementary colors? What if it's opposites on the spectrum? I was like, guys are killing me. I can't. I literally kept being like, if you're curious, ask questions. I do this a lot. I will very specifically tell my players, ask me questions above board. If you are confused, please ask me. Because I know I'm gonna fuck some shit up. And they were like, we don't know what to ask you. I'm like, I don't believe you. You're asking questions right now. You're just not asking them to me.
Right. Yeah. I mean, as a player, it's like, for fuck's sakes, just please ask the questions. Jesus Lord. Like, I don't know how else to put it. But yes, the color thing being like, the misunderstanding of the color thing is, I feel like it happens a lot.
Dude, I think colors are players' worst enemies. You'll turn graduate level art students into fucking ignoramuses with basic color theory. Dude. I think we could have a whole topic on the idea of puzzles, and like,
I don't like puzzles.
Most people don't, but every GM does them. People who hate puzzles, who GM, will put puzzles. What is the?
Yeah, they just break up things, I think.
I think genuinely, and this is not a dig at anybody who does this. It's the I don't want to work that hard. So I'm going to front load a little bit and build a puzzle because I know they're going to be stuck on this for an hour.
It's going to take an hour or two. Yeah, that's true.
And I just get to sit back and relax and watch my players struggle a little bit. I think genuinely that is a huge thing. And I'm saying this,
for me,
I'm outing myself here.
Fair enough. For me, it is genuinely just to break up the monotony. Like, I don't want every fight or every problem to be solved with a fight, you know? So I just want other solution types in there a lot of the time, or like other things that require you to like pay attention and engage with the game, but not just the combat mechanics, which is like, you know, most games. So that's what it like. And my idea when I do a puzzle is I try to Resident Evil my puzzles, which is to say it's not really a brain teaser. It's like find the correct shape key for the funny shape statue type nonsense. You know what I mean? Like it's minor brain teaser. Like, I don't know. I mean, like when you guys did the trial to meet the lighthouse keeper, right? And it was like there were symbols on the wall. You had to walk through the correct rooms in the correct orders and answer the questions. But it wasn't like deeply complicated riddles or like a visual puzzle. You know, it was just like Resident Evil style goofy brain teaser. Honestly, the thing that inspired that is the walking through the rooms in Devil May Cry 3.
Yes. Yeah.
Where it says what walks on 4 legs, then 2, then 3.
Yeah.
Or no, it says.
Oh, yeah.
Or no, it
what
says
starts on 4 legs, walks on 2, and then ends on 3.
No, that's the riddle. But what the thing says is like I forget how it phrases it, but you had to go through the door that was like 4 lights, then 2 lights, then 3 lights, and it described like a baby, a man, and then an old man.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like that's kind of how I try to do it. Because yeah, I'm not trying to do like, you know, fucking what's that one game? The Witness, not The Witness. What's that puzzle game everyone played a little while? I
think it was The Witness. Yeah.
The Witness? Maybe it is The Witness, where everything in the entire map is just covered in puzzles for you to find.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, The Witness. Yeah, it was The Witness. Yeah. I'm not trying to do that level of crazy, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I played one shot once, and I was so mad. I was so angry because I made a combat heavy character, and I had talked with the GM about this fucking one shot for weeks, and like what my build was going to be. I was so excited, and they didn't fucking tell me there wasn't going to be any combat in it, and I was so furious when my super cool fucking fighter character was completely worthless in that fight. When someone like a skill jockey rogue was like actively just dominating, and they made us do the fucking Pokemon Red and Sapphire ice maze puzzle, where it's like when you step on the ice, you keep moving until you hit something and then you
slide.
Stop.
Yeah.
And I didn't play. I mean, I played Emerald. It might have been an Emerald, but I don't remember. And I was just like, I'm stumped. I've got no idea. I don't. Like, I didn't come into this one shot expecting to have to use my brain this much. So I don't know what to do.
Was this 5e too?
Yep. Oh, you bet your sweet Bippy it was.
Yeah, I mean, that's annoying.
And it confused the magical dog shit out of me. And yeah. And literally, I remember it was either Snubby or Siffy who was like, isn't this the fucking Pokemon puzzle? And I just was like, what? And then once I started thinking about it, I was like, oh wait, no, this is a pretty simple logic puzzle. But okay. Yeah, that puzzles, man. Goddamn. We're so wildly off topic, but it's fine. I expected tangenting.
We have drifted.
It's literally the Jim Carrey thing where it's like, I didn't expect that. But I expected to not expect it. So it doesn't count. Where was I? Where were we?
I don't know.
I mean, going back to the idea of speaking above board, I think something worth really hammering home that I brought up earlier is, and this might seem obvious, but it isn't. Each party is not going to react to these situations the same way.
Yeah.
a party with me in it, again, I'm typically someone who just wants to push the plot forward. So I will open the door. But you can't expect that from players. And you really need to, like most things with the GM, tailor the experience to your party. And you hear people say this a lot, and it's true. You have to tailor your experience to your party. If you know your party are a bunch of min-maxing munchkins, you're gonna have to prepare for that. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to match their min-maxing, but you might have to emotionally prepare for the fact that your fights are probably gonna go a lot better for the players than they are for you. You know, you just got to accept that. So understanding that above board conversation is going to be likely and almost necessary if you're going to have moments like this, which is to say, you know that you can't necessarily stop them because of your own personal habits or something that you personally want to do, like willfully. You got to be ready for that. And to the players, you absolutely need to be prepared to just ask questions. You know, if Josh's advice is read more books, my advice to every player and GM
read more games, but you know,
is just to ask questions. It doesn't matter if it sounds stupid. It doesn't matter if you're afraid that you're not like the GM will think you're not paying attention. If you ask questions, even if it's a dumb question, you will let your GM know that you are in fact interested and you are in fact trying to solve the issue at hand. Because when you give the GM fucking crickets, that is the worst thing you can do.
And if a GM's getting mad about you asking questions or annoyed, that's some shitty McShitty there.
Yeah,
don't be doing that.
Yeah, I mean, within reason. If you can't remember what you have to do, if you can't remember you have to bring the magic item to the king, the GM is going to get a little mad at you if they've said it 8 times.
Right.
But if you're trying to ask something like, GM, is the door trapped? It probably isn't. You know what I mean? Like, and if they don't want you to think that it's trapped, they're gonna tell you. If a GM,
they'll probably just say, no, it's not. You're good.
Yeah. If the GM wants the scene to continue past the fucking door and the door's not trapped, they just want you to open it so you can fight the Lich, they're just gonna tell you. Because the GM is not an AI. It's not the computer that's running the game for you in Baldur's Gate. The GM got places to be and got shit to do. You know what I mean? The announcer in Baldur's Gate 3,
or
as sexy as she sounds,
shit that they.
She's got all the time in the world. She's not real. And her voice actor.
Well, she's real. I was gonna say the voice actress is real. Have you seen her?
I know, she's gorgeous, but the narrator isn't real.
She's real. Yeah, I mean, the GM has stuff to do. Also, the GM has stuff that he wants you to interact with, probably.
That's really what I mean. Like, the GM has laid stuff out for you as per their job. They want you to experience it in a reasonable time frame, which is to say before next fucking session. If you want to see that shit...
I'd like you to open the door before next session.
Yeah. Given that we have just confirmed that it's probably mutual on both sides of the table, just ask. For us.
Well,
just ask.
Yeah, and are players afraid to ask? Is that the problem? I don't even really know.
I feel with my party, I feel like they're afraid to ask. I don't know why they're afraid to ask, because I've never hopefully I've never made them feel uncomfortable for asking a question, like a genuine question. But it just seems to be a thing.
I will say too, in terms of the idea of the above board conversation, sometimes also it won't even really need to be a conversation. It will just be a case of you as the GM start to learn the kind of players you have, and you'll just simply be like, all right, they're probably going to do X or Y in response to this. So I'm just gonna tool it a little bit. Like if you know that you have players that are not going to take that initiative a lot for or maybe you just have a group that's like really overly cautious, then you will just have to, once you start to really lock in and realize that, you'll be like, as a GM, okay, I'm going to avoid overly describing, I'm going to avoid describing doors too detailed. I'm going to be really specific where I put their characters' like attention or where their characters' quote unquote like eyeballs are looking. I'm going to be concise on, you know, pathways and stuff. Like you start to understand your players and then you can tool your behavior to match them better. Basically, match their energy. Your freak is at a certain level and their freak is at a certain level. You want your freak to be in simpatico as much as humanly possible. If you want to bust out the metal whip and everybody else just wants like fuzzy brain? Fuzzy
Fuzzy cuffs?
what are they called? Cuffs, thank you.
Brother.
Fuzzy handcuffs.
What the fuck? Okay.
I forgot the word handcuffs.
Oh my god.
And they just want the fuzzy handcuffs. Then you gotta figure out, you gotta meet in the middle somewhere.
Yeah.
Listen, it is so easy. It is so easy to take any tabletop discussions and turn them into sex analogies because there's so many parallels. It's so easy, dude. It's crazy.
It's crazy. Real rich coming from me, but I can't say I've thought about it that hard.
It's so easy. If you just start thinking about the how you frame the sentence, it's real simple. Not that that's relevant to anything. I just think it's funny.
No, I mean fair.
I mean, it's because tabletop games are quintessentially built on relationship between 4 to 8 people all spending several hours in a room together. It
gets real intimate with the oil.
Yeah. With the oil. Why'd you say it like that? What do you mean? I have
just saw the sexy satyrs in there. There's oil.
Oil.
Dude, it's wild how I know. I have friends who don't know anything about tabletop games, and they watch fucking Tales of Avantris.
They see their shorts?
Yes.
That's great.
And they'll be like, "Oh, you play D&D? Do you know what this is?" And it'll be the fucking oil thing, and I'm like, "Yeah,
like yes, I do.
Yes, I do." And they're like, "Is this what playing the game is like?" And you're like,
"Sometimes."
A lot of the time, yeah, pretty much.
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, sometimes you're fighting goblins. Sometimes you're talking about oil.
I had a 5.5 minute conversation last session with my characters, with the spirit possessing my character's sword, and him asking her if she's making friends with the other deities that he's got pokeballed in his prayer beads. Like, you just have weird things happen. And you just gotta accept that.
Weird scenarios come up. Can I just say I love, by the way, we can get back on the topic after this statement, but I love the scenario when player characters are doing buck wild, fuck crazy shit, and then they explain to NPCs what they're doing, and then the NPCs are like, "The fuck you mean?"
Oh, no.
I love that shit. I'm so funny.
I've noticed, and I'm starting to get really meta with it with Goro.
Yeah.
Where he'll say things like, "No questions at this moment, please."
Yeah, because the idea, like, you have to imagine, like, in real world context, the player characters are like fucking Green Berets, right? Like, they're going out into the depths of villainy, going to war, killing 50 people, and then coming home and being like, "Hey guys, how you doing? How's anybody gotta pass me the beer, yo?" And like, there's just no scenario. Like, could you imagine like a Navy SEAL who killed like a terrorist leader comes back and is explaining to you, a completely normal person, about how that went down? Like, there's no scenario where you're not going to be like, "What the fuck, dude?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It was literally like, fucking on Monday, it was Goro being like, "All right, so we went underground and we found the people that everyone thought were extinct. No questions yet, because it gets weirder." And then while we were down there,
I'm still going.
We negotiated a peace deal between the people that you don't think exist and the above worlders of the separate religion who maybe extincted them. And now they're not fighting anymore. Don't worry, it gets weirder. And then one of them got corrupted and turned evil. And then she woke up an evil snake deity. Don't worry, it gets weirder. And then we almost killed that evil snake deity, which was wild because it like breached like a giant sandworm. And then this tiny ghost child showed up and disappeared the sandworm evil snake deity and the weird ass lantern, and we have no idea where they went. Now you can ask questions. Like,
yeah, now you may proceed.
Yeah. It is
Just-
as funny
just-
for me
just-
as it is for you. I guarantee you.
Just PC things.
It's just PC things, yeah. It's something that I unfortunately don't get to have happen very often in Lancer because, like,
Yeah.
the idea of being a cool mech pilot is like you don't have
Kinda
to be the
common.
chosen one for that. There's like a bunch of these
Right.
dudes running around. Like, to be a Lancer, you got to be the coolest of the coolest, or otherwise you're just a pilot. But like,
Right. The Lancer guys are like elite SWAT guys,
yeah, but
but they're not quite going to like. They're not quite James Bond.
yeah, exactly. Well, because like even in AC, the idea that like that clearly we're riffing on here, like AC pilots know each other. They have like companies that they work at. Like there's enough of them to
Right.
be like, for there to be a massive leaderboard. So you're like, oh shit, you're a Lancer. That's pretty cool. Versus like, oh, you're like a ship pilot. But it's not like,
Yeah.
they're not worshiping the ground that you stand on. You're just like, yeah, you're like a Green Beret. You're a cool guy.
You're a cool guy. You're not a guy who just like killed a low key deity,
Yeah. Now,
or in
granted,
the case of D&D, a straight up deity probably.
yeah. Now, our players did cut the leg off the giant city-sized evil death robot, and people were like, "We didn't think that was
That's
possible." That's kind of wild. So they are getting a
Yeah.
little bit of that right now, but they really had to work for it. You know what I mean?
You had to work.
It's
you had
not
to earn
really
it.
the same kind of. For me, it was Tuesday that most D&D
Yeah,
adventurers get to deal with. God, it's yeah. All right, that just again once it wildly off topic, but it's so funny.
Yes.
Ugh.
Once again, where were we in the notes?
Where were we at the very end, basically?
Are we?
Yeah, I mean, I wrote like a page and a half, almost 2 pages ish of notes. Like, not that much. We kind of ripped through a lot of it.
I feel like I'm. All right. Well, you just keep going.
Okay, I mean, yeah. Like I said, we pretty much hit everything. It's the idea that you have to rely upon the framing of the scene and understand intrinsically the shit that it goes on within the scene, not just that you're focusing on, but what comprises the scene is really what's going to help you not have this problem. And admittedly, that will involve breaking some bad habits that every first-time GM has.
Oh yeah, this is a painfully common bad. I mean, this is the idea of. I mean, we're talking about meandering around the door, right? Which is really kind of a microcosm example of the wider example, which is just poorly framing the scene and then not being able to keep the momentum and push things forward because of either the poor framing or just an unwillingness or unawareness of how to get the focus back to where you want it to be. This has like this idea, this problem, I feel like has a damn near 100% hit rate on terms of every GM has to go through like fixing this habit.
I would go
seems
as far
like-
as say it's natural growing pains. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it might not be 100%. Like, I'm sure there's some people that skip past, but it's gotta be, 90th percentile type shit.
yeah,
like,
unless you
it's
know
up there.
about this problem going in, which is something hopefully we're solving with this episode. Unless you know that it's something that's going to happen, you're gonna step on the rake 100%. Because it's
seems-
natural, right? You as one of your goals as a dungeon master, game master, master of ceremonies, whatever you want to be, is to, you want to do the Matt Mercer thing. You want to describe the cool, sweeping vistas like fucking Tolkien, but you get lost in your own sauce, and then you don't realize that the players don't have your meta knowledge on what to pay attention to. And if you have attentive players, they're going to pay attention to fucking everything.
You also don't want to, as an early GM, you have the natural inclination to not want to force them to do anything, right? Not push them in a particular direction. You don't want to say, "Oh, player X, your character walks through the door without them agreeing to that," right? Because a lot of people are, afraid of taking over that, taking that control from the players. The thing that most GMs don't realize until you've had a decent amount of practice is that you taking control like an author will often end up making more fun for the players and ultimately making things fun for the players is kind of the key objective, like the ultimate goal. So prioritize that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's funny. I just watched the OSP storytelling through tabletop games podcast episode they did, and something that really stuck out to me is people who want that cinematic feel have to understand that all of the people who are streaming those big cinematic games are professional actors. They are used to following, you know, improvising or following this. Not there is a script, but you know what I mean, right? Like,
well,
their narrative beats.
They aren't even necessarily professional actors. This is the funny thing. You can get that. Like, I've watched some games that are just with a bunch of streamers, right? And what really is going on there is not even so much about their skill set. I mean, their skill set helps, right? Obviously, if you're a streamer, you have practice kind of putting on a show, quote unquote. But I think the thing that people don't really think about is that when all of the streamers sit down to play on a live game, they all know we're being watched, so we have to do our usual we're putting on a show thing, right? B, this is probably part of our job because, you know, either the GM is paying the players or it's on somebody's channel who's paying other people, or there's an agreement, there's a split revenue or whatever. It's part of the job, or maybe it's just like you come on my show, I'll go on your show thing, whatever. It's, you know, it's sort of part of their job. So they're locked in. Like, if you say to somebody who doesn't play tabletop, oh, I can't hang out or I can't do X, Y, or Z, like we have to play D&D, they're going to be like, what the fuck? What? Just come with me instead. Like, don't play D&D. And you're like, well, and it's hard to argue. The streamer says, oh, honey, we can't go out tonight because I have to play D&D on X, Y, and Z's channel. And, you know, we're doing this thing. She knows that's part of the job. So she's like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, dude. There's
a different level of like commitment and not even just commitment, but like understanding of what they are doing. You and your friends sitting down are not doing the same thing. Like, it's a different thing. You're playing the same game and like you're doing the same fun bits, but it's not your job. You're not all being watched. You're not trying to frame it like the what's the word I'm looking for? Framing's all that's coming to mind, but yeah, the expectation is different. Yes, the expectation is very different. And so even if they're not necessarily particularly professional performers or anything like that, they know that the stakes are different, right? They are aware of that, or at least they should be. And here's the thing. If you go to watch an actual play and it feels bad, probably part of the reason is because they're ignoring those stakes and just acting like it's their regular old home game and that nobody's watching. Now, of course, that's not saying that, listen, some people throw up the regular old home game on YouTube and just say if somebody watches it, they does, and if somebody don't, they don't, and some people don't care, that's fine. But like, if you're going with the intention of like trying to get eyeballs and potentially, you know, going up in viewership or at least keeping a steady viewership, then yeah, there's a different expectation.
Mm-hmm.
And can you do that kind of vibe in your home game? Like, yeah, potentially, but you got to have that buy-in from everyone. And like, the expectation needs to be set up. It's not just going to happen. It doesn't just happen, right? Like, that's the thing. Critical Role didn't just magically happen. There had to be long talks and discussions and planning and all this crap. Like, they had to, when they went on Geek and Sundry, they had to decide to go on Geek and Sundry, and there was probably contracts and all this other shit, right? Like, it didn't just happen out of the blue, like, oh, we'll just record ourselves and see what happens. Like, that's not what happened there.
No, for sure.
You know, and I think some people think that's how it works, or feel like, or they get that impression. I don't know.
No, I mean, that's kind of what I was trying to say is like, you can't expect that level of attentiveness and spontaneity from your home game. So you have to make up for that.
I mean, you can expect it if that is the expectation that was set.
Right, but it typically isn't, right? Like,
but it typically isn't. Yeah, and if you just think you're going to sit down with your group and not give them that sales pitch and expect them to just do it magically. No.
Yeah, I mean, 100% no, right?
You know?
Like, in the same way that we just earlier said, like, you know, you're a GM, you have a job and a life and all this shit that you need to do. So your players, like, they're here to relax and have fun.
It's basically the same idea as setting expectations of, like, the tone of the game, right? Like, how comedic are we going to be? How serious are we going to be? How graphic? Is it going to be more horror or going to be more, like, heroic fantasy? Are we going to do, like... How are we going to get really R-rated, or are we going full PG? We doing a Ghibli movie, or are we doing Hellraiser? You know, like, it's the same idea of, like, those set up that expectation to a degree, give them an amount of, and, you know, it may vary, to, you know, how much of that expectation setup you do, but something, you do something.
Mm-hmm. You know, I do really want to try, I think we've said this before, but I do really want to try the, like, AD&D, like, you have to be very specific about your actions and what you do and how you do it.
You got to find the right game.
You do, yeah.
Say.
I mean, like, I don't know if we talked about it a couple episodes ago. 5e doesn't really do. There's too many insta solutions for too many problems. Like,
there's too many fuck you GM, I do what I want type buttons.
Yeah. Now with even less conversation.
I think Shadow Dark, a lot of the reason that people have gotten really attached to Shadow Dark is because it does that. It is trying to mimic that kind of AD&D style of, like, you need to be very precise and you can't just roll to solve all your problems necessarily and shit like that. I think that's why a lot of people have gotten attached to Shadow Dark.
Fair enough. I think, I mean, we are kind of doing it. Narrative first games, I think, are peak for this, because that's sort of what it says on the tin, right? Like, you have to narrate first and foremost what you are doing, and the mechanics will come after that.
Yeah, to a point. I mean, it's still a little different, but it's
a step.
Yeah, well, the thing about that old AD&D style is the players have to understand that their character sheet is not their end-all be-all tool, right? Because most modern games treat the character sheet as, like, the character sheet is your one and only window to interact with the game. Like, this is your method. Whereas the game back in the day didn't make that assumption quite as much. So I think establishing that with the players and being like, just because it's not on the character sheet doesn't mean it's not out of the question. Like, you know, there's a degree of think about what you can do as a person and shit like that.
Dog, I try to get, look, this is a call out. I try to get my players to think like this all the time. It's why I'm so big about ask out of character questions, like we've been saying for 20 minutes, because you as a character in game will know more about the setting and shit going on than you, the player, because you have to.
Yes.
So I can provide the information that your character has. You just have to know what that information, what you want to ask.
Well, and again, yeah, like I said, the reason your players are struggling with it, I think, is because modern games have shifted that perception quite a lot, and so it's hard to break out of that.
I suppose.
Like basically it's a style change. Like, stylistically, the game is played, you know, or just the hobby in general has shifted. And then, you know, 10 years from now, it'll shift in a different direction. Like, it's just kind of like the flavor of the week right now.
You know what one of my favorite applications of that ever was? It was Critical Role Campaign 1, when they were in one of the crazy fucking underground temples they were in, and the walls were lined with metal, and Taliesin was like, okay, so, like, I'm an inventor. I've got, like, magnets and shit. Can I, like, line my coat with magnets so that my coat's not in my face while I ready my rifle? And Matt had to look at him with, like, I guess you have magnets and shit. Sure, this is fine. Like, had no real bearing on what was gonna happen, but it was like, it makes my sense for my character to have, I don't know, magnets and shit.
Yeah.
Perfect encapsulation of that.
Yeah, well, and that's literally why D&D has that big long list of random useless crap, right? The adventurer items, or the adventuring gear. that's why that list exists for stuff like that, because in the older versions of D&D, being like, my character has a bar of soap. If I use the bar of soap to lubricate the switch on the trap so that when someone tries to step, they will fall and bring their full weight down and be unable to get up and be crushed by the pillar. Like, that used to be a thing that people did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas 5e, we don't really do that anymore because, I mean, there's a whole bunch of reasons, but yeah, basically the game just doesn't play like that anymore. So,
hey, look, I was a 3,000-year-old war machine that made very good use of a sack of flour.
right, and every once in a while, people will do stuff like that, but that used to be like a lot of the game, like finding a random fucking stick, like a good quality 10-foot pole in old D&D was like, hell yeah, dude, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, it's just a difference in play style that we are currently existing in, and it will eventually fade. I mean, I think we're gonna start seeing more Shadow Dark style games quite soon, to be honest.
God, I hope so.
I have a feeling. I think it's gonna start a thing.
We'd have we'll have a new wave of RPGs.
Yeah, Made in the Dark, or that's actually pretty good. Made in the Dark.
Isn't that what the Blades in the Dark games are called? Forged in the Dark?
That's called Forged in the Dark. Shadow. Okay, so Shadow Dark would be Crafted in the Dark. Something like that.
Shadow Forged. How about that?
Shadow Forged. Oh, that's a pretty good one too, actually. I'm just saying. Listen, Shadow Dark author, hit us up, or I'm just saying.
Hit us up.
Yeah, I think that'll start to become more of a thing. I not just because of Shadow Dark explicitly. I think other games will do a similar thing too. But I think Shadow Dark is really gonna get that ball rolling for sure. I could be wrong. We'll see.
Honestly, I kind of hope that we get more stuff like Fabula. Just like the way the game is built, the way the game feels. That is
what
the
way.
Like the general vibe, the way a lot of the stuff works. Like, I would like to see games with maybe not based on Fabula, with some of Fabula's DNA in it. The way that they treat the gear, the way that they treat like the player characters, and like building your class. Now, like, I know the build your class thing is not necessarily new, but I think the really cool synchronicity that Fabula gives you is kind of unique. Not exclusively unique, but unique enough.
I'm gonna be honest, I'm not totally clear on what you mean, broadly speaking, but fair enough.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm explaining this particularly well, but
I think you're being a little too vague, so I'm not really sure what you mean. Like, in terms of like what, I mean, other than like, okay, the class design and like ability synergy between abilities and stuff, like, sure, that's one little micro element of Fabula, but like I'm not seeing what you mean on a broader scope when you say design a game like Fabula.
I don't know how else to put it. Like, I really like the way that Fabula does like equipment and loot. I like how it feels to like craft items. I think it's really neat. I just want more games like Fabula. Like, I don't know. Like, I want more games built in the style of Fabula Ultimate.
Okay. I just I have nothing to add without any further specificity. So
fair enough.
Sure. I mean, we'll see. I'm probably Fabula hacks are going to become a thing. So there's that.
I know Paladin gave me like it's called the like low fantasy, but what it really was like dark fantasy. It was like urban fantasy.
Yes. That's a supplement of the game.
No,
though.
I know.
I'm saying there probably will be hacks using the system itself. I have a feeling that will probably happen, or something akin to it at least.
I'd like that.
Call them sung in the ultimate. I don't know. That one's harder. Fabula. Final sauce. Never mind. I'm not going to think about this too hard.
I feel like calling them like Ultima style games, I think would be a perfect.
That doesn't have a cool marketing spin to it though.
I don't know. The word Ultima is pretty cool.
Yeah, but like
You could,
we need
like-
a phrase like "forged in the dark" or "powered by the apocalypse." You know.
I guess.
Do people have a name for all those fucking 5e hacks out there? Not really, right?
No.
People just call them like 5e likes or 5e hacks or something.
Yeah, just 5e
There's
hacks,
so
yeah.
there's so many of them. There's so many of them.
Dude, I can't. I feel
Remember
so
the Dark
bad
Souls RPG?
when Lupo talks about 5e right now, or like even when Magnum talks about it too.
Because you're like, I just don't care.
I just don't care. Yeah, like Magnum's really excited talking to me
know.
about fucking BG3, and I'm like, I just don't give a.
Hey, wait a minute. Wait,
sorry,
no, BG3
his
is
builds,
different.
Specifically his builds. Like I just don't care about the
Oh,
character
builds.
Like,
I don't.
I'm just like I don't.
Yeah, builds. I don't. No.
Talk to me 3 years ago, I'd be so excited, but I just don't care right now.
BG3 is a banger, but yeah, I don't care about the build conversation.
Yeah. Now, if he was talking to me about a Lancer build, I'd be all over it. But 5e, meh.
Yeah, I have not even like thought about or looked at 5e really since I don't know, since the last 2024 book came out, which is what, the Monster Manual. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean the only time
We talked about the UA stuff a little bit.
we did. I still have that.
There's been some
that,
fun stuff with the UA.
that thing for Mr. Rex, that thing I backed like 4 years ago.
Oh yeah.
is
Yeah,
finally
yeah.
coming out, and I'm like, I don't give a fuck about this.
You're like, I don't know.
anymore.
I have nothing to
It
do
was
with this.
so expensive. It was like $200.
Yeah.
And I'll probably use the DM screen, but I'm never gonna use this anymore.
Listen, if you just gotta like, if you run 5e again, you just have to like hack the dog shit out of it. You know.
Maybe.
I've thought about that. I was like, I could see myself running 5e again, but I'm gonna just like rip apart all the bits that annoy the shit out of me, basically.
You know what I can do, because it's based on like a Middle Eastern kind of place. I can use the world building shit to make the planet that one of the NPCs from in Lancer. That sounds cool.
That's oddly specific, but you could, yes.
I don't know, I kind of like the Arabian Night. It's like a dark Arabian Nights feel that the thing had. Sounded cool.
I just meant that's an oddly specific use of the book.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, Edie, what?
I'm going to use it for this one planet and this one NPC in my one campaign.
Yeah, look, it's never gonna come up, but at least I can use it.
Sure. Who knows though? Maybe you'll read it and you'll be like, "Damn, I kind of want to run 5e now."
Maybe,
it'll just give
man,
you ideas.
maybe.
That happens.
It might.
That happens.
I remember they had some cool rules for like curses and shit that I was like, oh, that sounds neat.
Eh.
They also are.
I also feel like run shorter 5e campaigns. I think would help a lot too.
Yeah, but I'm still too mad at the rules changes. Like, and I know they're really niche rules changes that I'm mad at, but they make me really mad. So I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know which ones you're referring to specifically, but I don't want to go down this rabbit
I mean,
hole.
we've
so
had
I'm not
episodes
even
on it,
gonna-
just the like removing of interesting narrative rules for more basic options.
I don't.
Captain Hunter's Mark. It's
That
literally
was-
it. Like the shit like that. Just makes me like irrationally
That's
angry.
such a broad, overarching. Like, you're being so general. Like, sure, I guess.
Brother, we had a whole episode on it.
I know, but you basically just said I don't like the vibe.
I don't.
But that's not helpful.
All you need to know is why I want to run the game. The vibe's not immaculate. Vibes are off.
Also, just run 2014. That like
I
fucking what the
could
hell?
do that. I could do that. I might do that. You know what? I'll run the 2024 rules for every class I like, but Ranger is specifically limited to that one revised Ranger UA that I really like.
Oh my god. Just say the one player. I want to play Ranger. Well, that's fine, but you only get one type of
You
Ranger.
get one, yeah.
Uh,
Oh god. All right. We have run out of stuff to talk about. We've been faffing for 10 minutes. So
I feel like there's shit in your notes that you didn't. Am I tripping?
no, I hit them all.
Wait, what? You had something about ominous stalactites and shit in here. What?
Oh, it was another example about the different door.
What?
Just the idea of like you might have a cool image in your head, but that doesn't necessarily mean you have to spend a bunch of time on it.
Oh, okay. You also mentioned something about a massive girthy door somewhere.
I did do that.
What was that in context?
Yeah, in this situation that you absolutely need to describe the coolest, girthiest, most awesome door that's ever been a partition, best option is simply to give the players some meta knowledge. Once you're finished, simply ask who's the first to enter the through the cool yet completely mundane door.
Who's the first to enter through the cool yet completely mundane door? I mean, yeah.
Look, I told you I write my notes for myself to laugh. Like I put jokes in my notes.
I know, but then you don't like read them.
I mean, I gave you the my intense media literacy and then kept following it. Like
Sure. I mean, yes, the coolest, girthiest, mundane door ever. Yes, just tell your players, all right, you're going through the door. Anything else you want to do first?
Yeah.
That is what it comes down to in a lot of the situations.
Mhm. Also, I'm going to give myself a high five for using the phrase partition correctly there.
Partition? What? Where?
Partition? Yeah, that's ever partitioned. Yeah. The door is a partition.
That's ever
It separates you from
That's
something
ever partitions. I see.
else. Okay. All right, we're basically done. Please follow us on your podcast platform of choice. We'd appreciate it.
Christ.
And yeah, I mean, to recap, any finishing thoughts? Just framing is important. Talking to your GM out of above board is important, and don't fall into the loophole, the pratfall of describing the door that's not necessary.
Yeah, be more direct. Keep things moving. Keep the pacing going, and frame things in such a fashion that is clear what the next step of the adventure is.
Yeah.
Don't make it ambiguous. Ambiguity is the death of campaign.
Oh God, it really is.
I won't. Never mind.
Okay.
I was about to start like another roll of thought. I was like, what am I doing? Never mind.
No, we're ending this bitch now.
Yeah. It's fine.
Peace, motherfuckers.